got a lot of new information in this chapter, and it seems that Egghead is coming to an end, but everything won't end as peacefully as it seems for now. This excellent chapter starts with a flashback that takes place 26 years ago in Punk Hazard. We see Vegapunk and Clover talking. Clover begs Vegapunk to help him with his Void Century research, but Vegapunk refuses and says that he's a government man now. Vegapunk then reminds Clover that he has been arrested many times and that the world government already has their eyes on him. Clover explains that his brother was killed right before his eyes in the past and that he was a D. It's also revealed that Clover's full name is Cleome D. Clover. The name Cleome seems to refer to the Sword of Light, or Cladium Soluus from Irish and Scottish folklore. This sword represents the One Story, which describes a gambling hero battling a wizard champion in a game of wits and chance. The Sword Keeper often must be defeated, which is not possible except by some secret means. Thus, the hero or helper may resort to the Sword of Light as the only effective weapon against this enemy. But often the sword is not enough, and the supernatural enemy has to be attacked on a single vulnerable spot. Moreover, the weak spot may be an external soul concealed somewhere in the world at large. This reminds me of Kizaru. He is still on the island, and we have not seen him for more than 10 chapters. Oda would not leave him like that. Will he be the final obstacle for the Gorosei? Did Luffy actually change his heart? I think it will be a very beautiful ending for this arc, but I'll talk more about this in my next video, so don't forget to subscribe. Clover says that he lied in order to live and does not want to live in a world where people deserve to be killed just for being born or stating their name. However, despite this speech, Vegapunk refuses to help Clover. While Vegapunk walks inside Punk Hazard, Clover says that he will solve it. He can hear a voice coming from the past. We see another flashback 22 years ago, right after Clover's death. Vegapunk thinks that no one would be foolish enough to risk their life to carry on Clover's research. However, in the end, this research was the reason why Vegapunk died. He was inspired by Clover, by a D. Back to Egghead. Zoro and Jinbei are on the Thousand Sunny now. Nejuro was blown away, but he's coming back. Lilith stopped the Straw Hat crew from taking off because she was afraid of Nejuro blocking the way. Suddenly, Atlas appeared and punched Lilith, making her unconscious. Atlas also turned off a device on Lilith's head. York noticed it and thought that only Atlas remained. Atlas asked the Straw Hats to take care of Lilith and decided to sacrifice herself. Nejuro sliced off one of Atlas's arms, but she still grabbed him. Then Atlas used her Dom shoes and her jetpack to push Nejuro out of the way as the Thousand Sunny took off using the coup de burst. Nejuro did not expect Atlas to sacrifice herself, but Atlas calls it a service and blows herself up. Half of Nejuro's face is blown off. This is a really intriguing panel. Nejuro seems unbothered. Most likely he can even regenerate from damage like that, which is actually really scary. In this chapter, we also saw Emet and Luffy's conversation, and it actually feels like they are old friends. Emet is happy that he met Joy Boy again, but Luffy is confused and looks around searching for who's talking to him. He's amazed that the ancient robot can talk. Luffy asks Broggy about Joy Boy and tells him that the ancient robot mentioned him, but Broggy is surprised and tells Luffy that they can't hear him. Then we saw the clash of the Gorosei and Emeth. Can he be connected to the voice of all things? When the ancient robot appeared for the first time, it was mentioned that it activated 200 years ago. Robin said that was the year when fishman discrimination became a big issue. Back then, fishmen and mermaid tribes were classified as fish and persecuted by humans all over the world until the world government declared friendly relations with Fishman Island 200 years ago. I believe it's possible that the previous Poseidon or someone with the voice of all things commanded it to attack Mary Geoise in relation to the rebellion of the fishmen. I can't find any other explanation for how it was activated 200 years ago. There was not another Joy Boy. Also, it's clear that only Luffy can hear Emeth, and Luffy is the man who can hear the voice of all things. Emeth mentions that he became rusty and thinks that it's the right time to use it. What is he talking about? Or what is Vegapunk talking about? At the end of this chapter, Vegapunk mentions the voice of the past, and he's sure that everyone has already noticed it. He is going to sum up the future. Is he going to talk about Luffy? Maybe even Emu? Either way, the next chapter will be amazing. Surprisingly, many did not like this chapter and started critiquing Oda, but I believe it's because of non-stop hype. Nearly every Egghead chapter was a 10 out of 10, so chapters like this might not seem as great as others like Shanks attacking Kid or Kizaru vs. Luffy, but still, a lot of new details were revealed. Clover and his brother are D's, Luffy and Emmet's communication, Nejiro vs. Atlas, and more. Years ago, this chapter would have been counted as one of the greats of that arc. I understand that Vegapunk's speech may be too stretched out and could have ended earlier, but I think everyone expected that at the start, as it is Oda's style, and usually he does not disappoint. So we might get something surprising from Vegapunk at the end of this arc. Atlas had a similar sacrifice to Pedro during the Whole Cake Island arc, but Oda made the Pedro moment a bit underwhelming by dragging out the escape. He sacrificed himself, and the Straw Hats were still not close to escaping. I hope the same won't happen in this situation. I really liked Atlas, and I hope her death won't be a waste. On the other hand, Lilith survived, and she is on the Straw Hats ship. She was also the first Vegapunk the Straw Hats met. I don't think she will join the crew, but even 1/6 of Vegapunk will be very useful for the crew in their next journeys, especially Elbaf, where the Straw Hats will find a lot of information about the Void Century and Joy Boy. On the other hand, Lilith is embodying Vegapunk's aspect of evil. She utilizes her technology and weaponry to steal from voyagers, chiefly pirates who trespass on Egghead. She also thought nothing of handing the Straw Hat pirates to CP0, being fully aware that Rob Lucci was an assassin. Despite being evil, Lilith actually has a compassionate side. She cares about her fellow satellites. Hopefully we'll get Lilith's kind side, because another traitor satellite is too much. Emmet has zero chance of surviving on this island, and that's really sad because even in this chapter he had very good chemistry with Luffy. We didn't even have enough time to grow to love these characters, so including Atlas, I can say that this arc didn't have any major deaths, which is really surprising because the Straw Hats were fighting against CP0, Seraphims, 100,000 Marines, Kizaru, and 5 Gorosei. At the same time, we saw how Kid's whole crew got destroyed by one attack, and Law barely escaped with the help of Beppo. Plot armor was really strong for the Straw Hats this arc. I have to mention that they have not escaped yet, so technically anything can happen. None of the Straw Hats will die in this arc, of course. The same goes for Bonnie, but I would be glad if this arc had a dramatic ending. Kizaru or Kuma's death, for example, which has been foreshadowed for many chapters. Without a finale like that, the softness of this arc will be too much for me, considering that the strongest members of the world government are on this island. Yes, Atlas and Emmet sacrificed themselves to help the crew escape, but the death of 2 characters introduced in this arc does not express the danger that the Straw Hats were in. My next video will be about the ending of the Egghead Island arc, predicting the next 3 to 4 chapters, so I won't talk much about it today. Let's talk about Elbaf. Elbaf is probably the most anticipated arc in One Piece. The first time we heard about Elbaf was in the Little Garden arc, where we met Dory and Bragi, and after 23 years, it's finally confirmed that Elbaf will be the next stop for the Straw Hats. This arc will have a lot of surprises. Expect the unexpected. Will Shanks and Luffy finally meet? Will Usopp see his father again? If you want to learn more about why this arc will be the most different and interesting arc, you can watch this video right here. Thanks for watching.